Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul Jaif Farabi, and this is the Unraveling Thread. So, I grew up in Dhaka, Bangladesh, a city of rivers. The Buriganga, the Turag, the Balu. Water was everywhere, a constant, rhythmic presence. But I also remember the taste of it. Not fresh and clear, but metallic, sometimes salty, often carrying a hint of something you didn't want to think about. We boiled it, filtered it, bought it in bottles when we could. Water was life, but it was also a daily negotiation, a quiet anxiety. And for a long time, I thought that was just Dhaka. It wasn't until I moved to New York, a city that famously drinks its tap water with pride, that I began to see my childhood negotiation not as a local reality, but as a global pattern. A pattern not of scarcity, but of control. Today, we're pulling on a thread that leads us from the aquifers of the American Southwest to the crowded taps of Jakarta, from the pipes of Paris to the tanker trucks in Chennai. We're talking about water, but more specifically, we're talking about who owns it, who sells it, and who gets to drink it. This is the water barons, privatization, profits, and the global crisis of thirst. Let's start with a fundamental shift in thinking. For most of human history, water was seen as a commons, a public good, a shared resource, like the air. It was managed, often imperfectly, by communities or governments. But in the late 20th century, a powerful idea began to take hold. That water is not a right, but an economic good, a commodity. And if it's a commodity, then the logic of the market should apply. The argument went that private companies, with their efficiency and capital, could manage water systems better than cash-strapped, bureaucratic municipalities. They could fix leaky pipes, upgrade treatment plants, and deliver a reliable product. This was the promise of privatization. And in many places, large multinational corporations stepped in. Companies like Veolia and Suez, giants born in France, began operating water systems from Atlanta to Manila. The model was often a long-term concession. A city would hand over its entire water infrastructure to a corporation for 20, 30 years. In theory, everyone wins. The city gets a modern system without upfront costs, the company gets a steady return, and people get clean water. But theory, as we so often find, has a complicated relationship with practice. Because water is not like selling sneakers or smartphones. It is a natural monopoly. You can't shop around for a different water pipe to your house. You are, quite literally, a captive customer. And when a profit-driven entity controls a captive market for a non-negotiable resource, the incentives can get twisted. We've seen it play out in grimly predictable ways. First, rates often go up, sometimes dramatically, to guarantee that corporate return on investment. Second, maintenance and expansion can be deferred to boost short-term profits. And third, the most vulnerable customers, those who can't pay the higher rates, get disconnected. We're not talking about a cable TV subscription here. We're talking about the source of life itself being switched off for non-payment. Take the case of Cochabamba, Bolivia. In 1999, under pressure from the World Bank, the Bolivian government privatized the city's water system, granting a 40-year lease to a consortium led by the American firm Bechtel. Almost immediately, water bills skyrocketed, doubling or tripling for some of the poorest families. The company even claimed rights to the rainwater, saying people needed a permit to collect it from their own roofs. The people rose up. It was a literal water war, with protests so massive and sustained that the government declared martial law. Eventually, the company was forced out, and the water was returned to public control. Cochabamba became a stark warning. When you commodify something people need to survive, you don't just create a market, you create the conditions for conflict. But the story of control isn't just about pipes and treatment plants. It's also about the source. And this is where the plot thickens into something out of a dystopian novel. Around the same time the pipe privatization model was spreading, another industry was booming: bottled water. Now, on the surface, buying a bottle of Evian or Fiji or Dasani seems like a simple consumer choice. But it represents a profound ideological victory. It normalizes the idea that safe, clean water is not a public service you can trust, but a branded product you must purchase. It shifts responsibility from the collective, from our shared duty to maintain clean public systems, to the individual and their wallet. And the sources of these bottles are often public aquifers, springs, and lakes. Companies secure permits, sometimes for a pittance, extract millions of gallons of a common resource, package it in plastic derived from fossil fuels, and sell it back to us at a markup thousands of times over. They're not creating water, they're repackaging and selling our own hydrological cycle. In places like Michigan or Florida, this has led to fierce local battles where communities watch tanker trucks haul away their groundwater while their own wells run low. The bottle on the shelf isn't just a product of a sale, it's the endpoint of an extraction. So we have these two intertwined models: the private control of public delivery systems and the private extraction of the resource itself. Both funnel a common good into a corporate balance sheet, and both, crucially, thrive on the failure of public systems. When a city's water is contaminated, like in Flint, Michigan, bottled water sales soar. When a public utility is underfunded and crumbling, the argument for private efficiency grows louder. It's a cycle that benefits the barons. Sitting here in New York, with water that still comes reliably from the tap, it's easy to feel detached from this. But the thread connects us all. My engineering mind sees the infrastructure, the pipes, the treatment graphs. But my storyteller's heart sees what flows beneath it, a fundamental question of justice. Is access to clean water a human right, or a privilege of purchase? The answer we settle on will define this century. Because climate change isn't just warming the atmosphere, it's completely rewriting the hydrological script. Droughts are more intense, rains more erratic, glaciers, the steady reservoirs for billions, are retreating. Scarcity is coming. And in a world of scarcity, control becomes power. The danger is a future where water is not just a commodity, but a weapon. Where geopolitical conflicts are fought over dams and aquifers. Where the divide isn't just between rich and poor nations, but between the hydrated and the parched within every society. I think back to the taste of Dhaka's water. That wasn't just the taste of a polluted river. It was the taste of a system under strain, of a commons under pressure. We unravel this thread not to succumb to despair, but to see the weave clearly. The solution isn't simple, but it starts with reasserting a basic principle, that water belongs to all of us, and its management must be accountable to all of us. It means investing in public systems as if our lives depend on it, because they do. It means protecting sources from pollution and over-extraction. And it means viewing every person without clean water not as a potential customer, but as a collective failure. The unraveling reveals a choice. Do we want a future where water flows toward profit or toward people? The next chapter is still ours to write. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Unraveling Thread. If this conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone. It's these discussions, thread by thread, that help us see the larger tapestry. This is Ibnul Jaif Farabi. The Unraveling Thread is produced by Light Knot Studios. You can find more of our work and join the conversation at lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, take care.